I found this at mathportal.org. They've got quite a few calculators available. I scrolled down to find this one here, correlation and regression calculator. I'll put these links on the week 2 content page too, by the way. So this one here is a correlation and regression calculator. We need to enter in the X and Y values here and here. Notice we could also click this box, use data grid, I think they mean grid, to input the X and Y values. So we could plug those numbers in right out of the book. These numbers, right? So 577, 613, 490, 279, 179, 29, and so forth. Those are the numbers that we have to put in. I don't think we can do that. So we'll just go back and key them in. So 577. Move to the next one. 613. Move to the next one. 490. 279. 179. 29. The problem with doing it this way is sometimes we have fat fingers and we don't put things in clearly or correctly. 316, 456, and the last one is 579. We'll go back to the first Y category so it's easier to enter. 82800, 80,000, 640, 73,440, 43,920, 33,840, 18,720, 10,080, 11,520, 26,640, 50,400, 62,640, and finally 84,240. So all that data has been entered in. There are two things that we could compute. You have to do them one at a time. I will first select find the equation on the regression line, and I will also click the show me an explanation. Then click compute. It explains out quite well the data that we used, and it shows us the regression line. And look at that number. That's the same number we were looking for, 124.541. So they went out 3 decimal places, and in the book, what did we see? In the book we used 124.54. All right, so we've got both of those. Now if we go down to the bottom, again it shows us how all this information was put together. It shows us the math, if we're so interested, and notice how it actually entered the information. We put it in a grid format. We could have also put it in using commas to separate each of the values. Now, notice here as I scroll down, we can now instead go for the correlation coefficient, right? And when we compute this, let's make sure we haven't skipped anything. Oh yeah, notice before here was the formula. Does that formula look familiar? Isn't that the same formula we were looking at back on page 43 of our text? This formula right here. All right, so right here. Isn't that this formula right here? Yes, there it is right there. That's the same formula. There we go. So we have our intercept and we have our slope. We can also get this correlation coefficient. That's the one we call R2, or excuse me, R squared. And again, we'll scroll down and it's going to show it. So this is just, this is before it's squared, right? So in order to square that, we would have to multiply it times itself to come up with that value. And I think this calculator was very helpful. So again, this is the second way that we can do this. The third method is to use a spreadsheet application. This is more powerful than either of the two we looked at before. Microsoft Excel is not the only spreadsheet that's used. However, it is probably the most popular. So on this web page is an excellent YouTube video of how to do this from Professor T. Dub, whom actually I refer to as Professor Fast Fingers. This is a very valuable YouTube for you to watch. So I encourage you to watch this. Now, when I used this method, first I tried it on my MacBook, and then I also tried it on some Windows machines. I ran into troubles with both of them because the versions of Excel did not have the data analysis tool available. They did tell me that there was a pretty simple patch for the Mac. So those of you who are using the Mac, you'll want to go to this website. And again, this is Gladys Simpson posted instructions on how to update Excel for Mac 2011. So she describes it here and makes reference to this web page where we actually find the link at this Analysis Soft website. Well, I didn't need the delay, but I went ahead and did it. I figure if I'm going to ask you to do this work, I should be able to do it as well. So, my Macintosh used this tool, and I was able to make this using this software. Worked really well. I'm going to stop this video now and begin again so these things don't get too long.